Well, hello, and thank you for joining us for the inaugural episode of the Beeswax. I'm your host today. My name is Sandy, and just to give you a little background about me, I am a dance music artist. I'm also a dancer, actress, mother, and wife. So I just enjoy life at this moment, and just hope that you will get something out of our panel discussion today. So we have with us today on our panel three wonderful ladies who are entrepreneurs in their own right. Our panel consists of Tepera Melazikian, did I get that right? Okay. And she is a self-made entrepreneur who's had no formal business training and no startup financing, but created a natural cosmetics business called Monave. Monave.
That's close.
Okay. And our second panelist is Morgan Pennington, and she's the creator of Creative Mo, which is a YouTube channel that explores the many means of creativity and creation that we have available to us. And our last panelist, here to my right, is Rayanne J. Lane, and she's a financial services professional with New York Life and New York Life Securities. And she did grow up in Maryland and loves empowering the Baltimore community. So having introduced the ladies, I'd like each of you to just let everyone know how it has been stepping out on your own. And could you state your art and and what the inspiration was to start your business? And I'll start with Tepera.
Okay, sure. So, starting out was kind of strange. I had never been taught or encouraged to open a business. So, no one ever said to me, you can run a business. Like, thought never crossed my mind because no one had even offered that idea to me. My mother was a teacher, my father just worked in the garment industry, they were just, workers. Nobody in my family was a business owner. So both my twin and myself started our own companies just out of thin air. So I don't really have an explanation for the whys and the hows of it, but the seed of the idea came from watching my ex-husband run a business and just seeing the nuts and bolts of putting it together. It's another form of a creative art because you start with nothing and you manifest an idea, and the next thing you know, you've got a brick and mortar space, you've got people doing things for you, you've got payroll, you've got merchandise that you could buy or make or ask someone else to make, and in every piece of that, there's a thought involved. There's an expression of yourself, and so you're manifesting yourself, and you're blossoming and creating an impact on the world. So I started doing it because as a teacher, my life worked until I had children. But I'm not a believer for myself in having a child and giving it to someone else to take care of.
Right.
And so I saw, as a mother, a business as a way to create income for myself because I didn't want to be beholden to my partner to take care of me because I think it creates a power imbalance. And in the relationship I was in, that wasn't a good thing. And I saw that after my children started getting just a few years in as toddlers, I started to see the power imbalances and there's, the friction it caused in my relationship. And it became a big problem. And so I just was presented with an opportunity to run a business and I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. And so I've just been continuing to create that idea and let that be my asset to my children and to my motherhood. So part of what I do through my business. So what I do, just to take a pause from all that, is I make natural makeup. So, blushes, lip glosses, eyeliners, foundation, anything you can wear on your face I make by hand. And I train other people how to make it. And it's all, natural ingredients. So the idea is that it's going to be healthy. It's also vegan, so there's animal rights issues involved in what I do. It's also gluten-free because I'm a celiac. So the idea is that it can be healthy beauty. A big piece of what I do is to accommodate all the complexions that you see in Baltimore. So instead of having like 2 colors for black women and 10 colors for white women. I'm in Baltimore, we're in Black City. So my customer base is always kind of influenced my color range. And so I try to create the most inclusive line I could possibly create for the family that we call Baltimore. And then that, of course, that spreads out into the whole diaspora around the world. So I sell my products all over the world, and I hear people say constantly, like, I just found a match in your line, no one's ever made a match for my skin. And it's like, well, because they've never really tried. So it's the idea of like inclusivity instead of exclusivity. So that's a big piece of what I do. The other piece is that I teach women how to educate themselves on ingredients, on health, and it's like a portal for, okay, start asking questions about what you're putting on your skin, and not just for makeup, but for your personal care products, you know, your shampoos, your lotions, what you're using to clean your house, what furniture you're buying, because as mothers, we transmit health to our children. So everything we do in our house is going to influence everyone else in our house, because our husbands are not the one going to the store buying the cleaning supplies and the shampoos, it's us. So, you know, we're the center of so much of the family. So it's to really help women start to see that they can be empowered to really own their knowledge. Because the greatest asset to our corporate entities in this country is our ignorance. That's their greatest asset. Right? So when I'm a warrior against those companies, which I am, I've already declared that, my greatest asset that I want to give to my customers is education, and the idea that knowledge, self-education and knowledge is your path to freedom in everything that you do, including where you get your power from, everything. So that's what I do, and why I started it, I think it was just ordained. So we just follow a path sometimes that we're called to, and that's what happened.
Thank you. And the same question for you, Morgan. Basically, what was your inspiration to venture out and do what you're doing?
Well, my inspiration was really that I was watching YouTube myself and being like very inspired by what they were doing. There was many people doing many things like makeup, like not just everyday makeup, but like crazy like Halloween type makeup. And then people who would just talk and it would make really good valid points and they would really encourage me to do better in life. And then there's just people who do great artwork, because like I would draw on my videos and they didn't get much views, but it still was good for me because I enjoyed drawing and I wanted to practice, and if I could show people how I practice, they could do better in their own way. And just doing the basics of things.
Your inspiration?
So my inspiration definitely came from my parents. So, you know, I graduated cum laude with a Bachelor of Science in Business Marketing. I went out, I was a consultant for about 19 global companies, and I was making them millions of dollars a year, and it wasn't really trickling down. The money was staying at the top of the companies. And I just thought, you know, I'm blessed with these skills to make money. I know business, I know how things run. Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing with my skills and my gifts? And I just left, and I took some time to do yoga and really connect with the family, what's important to me. And it got me back to my childhood, and my childhood where my parents were very happily married. It was a childhood where my father was the breadwinner majorly, and the retirement, our lifestyle, our expenses, everything was hinged majorly on his income. And my father, who had never even had a cold in his life, one day got sick and then he died. And then my mom was not prepared for that. So once the money ran out, the money was gone and we had to figure things out. She was a single mom, she had a mortgage, 2 kids, just didn't have a clear roadmap and really didn't have a clear grasp on what it was going to take to raise the family and being a single mother financially. And I just thought, you know what? If I could change that future for another family, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm a financial planner. My passion lies with working with women entrepreneurs and women business owners to make sure that they have a clear roadmap, that they're educated, that they're informed, empowered, and dialed into their roadmap so they know whatever dreams in life that they want to live, they have a financial foundation to do that. And if there's those things that come up called life, death, divorce, sickness, kids, moving back in, and all those things, that they will be financially set up and structured to deal powerfully with those things, which is something that didn't happen in my household, and I wish that it did. So that's my true passion, is to make sure, and I mean not only women, but again I have a soft spot for making sure that females succeed and thrive, but to make sure that take Baltimore, if I was able to work with every family, make sure that they were financially set up and having their money work the best way it can for them, the face of the city would look a lot different.
Right.
So, and the legacy would look a lot different. So.
Wow. I need to get your card.
We all do. Did you bring some with you today?
I brought a couple.
Okay, good. Tepper, another question for you. You may have touched on part of this in your first statement. When did you specifically notice the need for the ethnic makeup line, and what made you move on?
So my first my first store, which was a kiosk, was in Harbor Place. And it was at the top of the escalator where the food court is. So 70% of my customers are Black women. So from day one, I knew that. And I started by selling someone else's products, and they had someone else's identity in them. And the identity of the products was colorful, which works for a lot of African American women and Thai women and Vietnamese women. Colorful, intense colors that will really show up on darker skin tones. So the colors of like the eyeshadows and the lip glosses, they worked. But what didn't work is that it was being marketed towards younger, like teenagers and 20-somethings. But I had the working women of Baltimore coming up the elevator to get their lunch before they went back down to work. So what they wanted was, there was no foundation in the line that I was featuring. So they wanted foundation, they wanted some skincare, and they started asking me, like, we like this product, but we need more than just eyeshadow and lip gloss. So I started, shopping around at trade shows and looking for a decent makeup line, and the ingredients weren't thrilling to me. And then I heard about a makeup that was pure pigment. This was before Bare Minerals came around. So I heard about a makeup line that was pure pigment, and I went out to a show in LA to look at it. It's a line called Youngblood, and they had a good palette and a good range for various, shades and complexions. The price would be outrageous for Baltimore. It was designed for like high-end salons, and we're a sensible money city.
Right.
Women are only going to pay so much for a brand they haven't heard of. So, I mean, we're not, LA or Chicago, so there was no way I could buy that and resell it. Nobody would buy it at those prices. So I just kind of turned the jar over, looked at the ingredients, and I said, okay, it's got 6 ingredients. I can do this. So I think, like in the beginning, my first 4 colors were split evenly between light and medium dark. Yeah, and I just started making my own foundations from ingredients that I just looked for. I just called all the companies I was buying makeup from and started asking them if I could buy their ingredients. And most of them were like, "Are you kidding?" Like, they were very polite, but I could tell they were a little taken aback by the request. So it was a journey to find the ingredients.
So how did you ultimately find the ingredients? Just continuing to research and so forth?
There's a woman who owns a company called Columbia Cosmetics, which is a private label company in California. I think her name is Rachel Rendell, and it's a very large company. So she was already very successful, didn't need to be on the phone talking to someone like me. But nobody knew how to address my concerns, but her staff is wonderful. To this day, I can say they're just wonderful people. And someone named Christina said, well, let me just ask around. She said, we really don't know how to price these ingredients out for you, but we're going to forward it to someone else. And she forwarded me to the owner of the company. So the owner of the company got on the phone and said, well, what ingredients do you want? And I just turned the jar over and told her the ingredients on the jar and said, those ingredients. And she said, oh, okay, no problem. She said, let me work up a price. Well, the first shipment came in trash bags, like they had never sold these pigments to anyone. So, just mentored. I was mentored by women who I'd never met. I was mentored by women that, I would see maybe once or twice at a trade show, and we had some kind of connection, and they were placed in my path to help me along my way. She was one of them.
I have a question for you, Morgan. I know you inspire people to be more creative. How how many people do you think you've motivated or touched, since you've been doing this? And what is it that you turn to besides YouTube, to get your creative juices flowing?
Well, I don't really have many means of like displaying my artwork, but I have been able to just do some sort of collages and just drawings, and just people would see me doing them like in public places, school, and be like, I need to learn how to like how to draw, and like you can do it if you just practice. And they would be like, yeah, and they'll go grab a piece of paper and they'll start practicing, or they would see like my collage and be like, I like that, and they'd be like, go and try it for themselves.
Rand, I'm going to direct this one to you first. We know that marketing is the key to any successful business. What steps do you take to get noticed, or how are you getting your name out there to let people know I'm here and what I'm doing?
That's a great question. So, especially in my field where it's predominantly male, it's predominantly looks a certain way, which I don't fit. And especially also with my passion, I don't take the stereotypical or the more common routes of, direct mail or things of that nature, which usual planners take. For me, I like to really be working with and engaged with my community. One of the first things I did actually was I started a meetup called the Powerful Women Collective, and it really was to bring together not only financial information, but things, topics that women should know about, need to know about, need to keep abreast, and also bring the community together. So doing workshops and just talking with women that way, I have about 120 women in that meetup, was one of the things. And I do a lot of different workshops around the area on different financial topics, and women, they're hungry for that information because it's not readily available, and it's not a common topic of discussion about. As a female, we have a different set of concerns that our money's going to need to be addressed. And then social media, I'm pretty new to that, but it was very interesting. My Twitter, I have people in India, I have people in Chile, I have people in Denmark following me, these companies, entrepreneurs, marketing companies, different things of that nature. So that has been a really awesome experience to partner with people around the world who have a non-American kind of mentality about life and how things should go, and get their input, and be privileged to give mine as well. So those are the two big ones. And I like to speak at kind of health fairs and health conferences. I think that people's physical and mental health is really closely tagged into their financial health.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of health concerns can stem from that stress, that burden of money. So I like to work in that arena as well.
Great, thank you. More basically the same question. What steps do you do to have your artwork or items or things that you're doing noticed?
Well, I go to different websites and see if they really have a way of showing off what they do, and if I like it, then I will upload stuff on there and try to branch out and go on different social media and link it there, just to show people what you can do with the littlest of things, and basically different social medias.
Okay. I'll say some counseling done today. Now, knowing that your backgrounds in finances and so forth, what do you want everyone to know about becoming financially secure business and home life?
Goodness, it would be a whole show to itself.
What are some key points?
I think for women, just knowing the statistics, we make 77 cents on the dollar left to every man's dollar. So we need to make our money stretch more. I think in general, women tend to be more conservative with their investments in their portfolios, and I think that we should be just as risky, if not riskier, because we need to make sure our money lasts a longer time. 40% of women are going to be widows by the age of 59, so just being prepared for that longevity. Also, long-term care, we have more medical expenses when in our elder years. Also, women tend to be the ones that take care of their elderly parents. So those are all the things that might not be like your reality now, but maybe your reality later, and to plan for that. In general, there are certain steps that I take. The first one is just making sure, like the foundation of any financial platform is to make sure you've protected all your assets. And so there's different ways that we do that, but you need to do that before you actually go into building your wealth. But that is just as important. And I would say, use an expert. You always can. Use an expert. Use somebody that you trust, that you vibe with. Every planner, just like everybody else, is going to work a different way. But make sure when you're talking with them, it's somebody that you want to work with, and you really utilize their expertise. There's a lot of things going on, and just making sure that somebody is an expert in that field. I think that's really a missing for people, is they try to save on their own, or wait, like, I might not have enough money to work with a planner. But that's exactly why you should work with a planner, because the more time that you give your money to work for you, the more it's going to accumulate. And no matter what the budget is, I'll speak personally, I can work with that to make sure we're creating a plan and making sure that when you have a plan, you're reviewing it annually to make sure things change. You have a baby, you buy a house, someone goes to school. All of those things affect your finances. And I would say the last thing is, also, like the buzzwords are, diversification, asset allocation. But the other thing that I really want people to look at when we're talking about their money is, are you tax diversified? There's 3 different ways that your money is taxed. One is it's taxed right away. One is tax deferred, which is usually your retirement vehicles, and one is it's never taxed. And usually people are missing putting money into that last bucket because they don't really know it's there. So those are just some key things that I would want people to know is,
Well, specifically in relation to ordinary and temporary, this meeting today, any additional advice a piece of advice that you might want to pass on to them, the information can't be redundant, it's something that you've already said, but something that you might think would be the most important piece of advice for each of them individually in regards to financing, their ventures.
Absolutely. So I would say you're young, you're in a great position because, again, you have a lot of time to build wealth. And that's the most important piece. It's not how the market's doing or what the market's doing, it's time in the market.
Yes.
So for you, I would say start something small right away, and that small thing will keep building and building. You don't have to, start huge. I would say, mind your debt. A lot of, women, when I do their analysis, the debt usually kind of weighs on them. And beware of credit. It can be good, but it can also be evil. So just make sure you're staying on the better side of credit. But I think for you, the biggest thing is to start something small early.
And then, so you are a
Wife and mother? Mother? Just a mother? Okay. No, not just. Okay. So I'd say, I would just ask, a question, do you have, a strong and powered roadmap that's, you clearly know where your finances are going powerfully, and if that's a yes or a no, again, are you, tax diversified? Are your assets allocated properly? And do you know how long your money is going to last you? And do you know how long you need it to last?
I said I need it for it.
But those
Since
are the
I,
most important things.
since I, went out on my own, I've experienced great wealth and had no idea what to do with it.
Mhm.
And so I bought that thing that's not open anymore and said, and this has been going on for like years. So I protect all my assets until the day. I'm actually going with an accountant on Wednesday, accountant and a lawyer. I'm going in with an accountant to the comptroller to say, how can you keep doing this?
Right.
It's been going on for years, so I'm saying, how many of it?
No.
Bizarre.
That is bizarre, but not.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So I just wanted to touch on when you're talking about having money in the bank and savings accounts. I think having a certain number, and we do calculate the number of like how large your emergency fund should be. That's going to be the most liquid. But as far as these savings, it yields less than 1%. So how hard is your money really working for you? Not very much. So again, you want that small piece of liquidity in case the car goes up, something. But the rest of it really should. I mean, there's two ways we make money. One is we work a job, or we have our careers. But the other one really should be your money should be working just as hard for you in some kind of avenue or realm, and that's the key piece. So we want to make sure we're yielding more than 1%. Hopefully, average 8 or 9%.
Back to you, Chandra. Can you talk about the challenges of being a woman in the art or entertainment industry? And in your own experiences, do you feel that you're treated fairly, and if not, why?
Absolutely not. I've had promoters point blank tell me they don't hire women. They have no qualms about just stating why, and they have reasons that they give. And I've never really had arguments with them. I just always listen to what they say and go, and if you go, for example, if you go up and down Fells Point, play a lot in Fells Point, probably 85% to 95%, somewhere in there, of the musicians that play there are men. With the exception of the bar where I play a lot with live vendors, and it's a low-paying place that is not discriminatory. So it's one of the reasons I pay there, but like I said, low-paying.
Right.
So they believe. See what happens with when a man is in charge of promotion and entertainment. They do their job the way they think they're supposed to, and what they do is predict what their fans are going to like. What they don't realize is that an artist brings their fans. So that's the piece that a lot of times is missing. Is they say, what do we think our fans are going to like? What do we think our regular customers are going to like? Well, your regular customers aren't paying your bills. That's why you have live entertainment. Because if you didn't, the regular customers who just come to have a beer every day, you're not going to make it. So you have live entertainment because you need that crowd as well. That's probably 50% of your money. And that's the same for any business in Baltimore. If you don't have a tourist business of some kind, and live entertainment brings tourist business. Okay, it brings locals, but it also brings people from out of state. They come down from Pennsylvania. It's a husband and a wife. The kids are, at a friend's house or they're in college. They're not just going to go to any bar. They're going to go to bar for music. So you bring your tourists in. Well, they've decided ahead of time that their crowd only likes the guys with the guitars. And they want something loud, and they want something highly energetic, and they want that. Well, that's what men want to hear a lot of times. Right. But a lot of times women actually want it to be toned down and where they can have a conversation with the person that they're sitting next to. So they just excluded the opinion of 50% of their fans. And when you're a restaurant, if you don't have women, the men aren't going to come. And that just shifted in Baltimore somewhat because now gay couples can go pretty much anywhere and feel comfortable because we're a great city. So that's a blanket statement I'm making that doesn't always apply. Right. But in terms of the majority of their population, if you've excluded women in terms of their comfort level with the volume of the music, with the kind of music, with the complexity of it, women like more complex music. It's just true. So they are actually doing their own business a disservice because they think they know they're not doing market research. So that's the kind of thing that goes on in the entertainment industry. The other thing that goes on is stuff like this. Now, I work with some great people. They're very nice. They're not vulgar, but they'll say things like this. I'll walk into a showcase where I'm a featured artist, and one of them will turn around to the other and go, Yeah, she looks just as good as she did last time. Thanks for the compliment, but I'm not here to look good. I'm here to express myself as an artist. And I look good so that the whole package is there for the audience, but I'm not looking good for you to stare at my boobs. So it's that kind of thing. I just let it roll off my shoulders. And like I said, these people aren't vulgar, but it really shouldn't happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's there.
Basically, what kind of challenges have you encountered being a woman in the art world? And do you feel you're treated fairly, and if not, why?
Well, being the way I am, I don't think so, because if it was between me and a dude, I would definitely be brushed off. It's been happening because if I barely be able to do art, that was terrible English. If I'm barely able to be creative and I have the option, I will go for it. So I have gone to like jump for it, but he was like, okay, you can do this, just give me a second. And he was a dude, of course. But he is letting the younger, more like less experienced boy paint all over the tables. And I'm still sitting here waiting for confirmation if I'm allowed to paint on mine, because they're like sort of murals. Or if I'm doing a personal project, he's over there doing what he wants to do. And I'm like, can I do this now? Am I allowed to do this without getting yelled at?
Right.
And it's also like, if you don't look good doing something, people don't seem to pay attention, or they expect you to uphold this physical way of looking. And it's like, I don't want to get in the race, but if I come in with an afro and every other girl has a perm, they're like, why aren't you straightening your hair? It's like, I don't want to look good. I want to do what I wanted to do. I came here to do art, so therefore I will do art.
And it's not that wearing an afro doesn't look good, but I think that's
That's
just
what I was gonna say.
certain
How much
perception
better?
that people have, you know, you have to look one way or the other.
Right.
You know, there's no in between. In regards to the inequality that these women experience, you know, in just the normal workplace and arts or whatever venue that we're involved in, do you have any, I will say, solutions or what you might feel is the root cause or what can be done to change things around?
Start your own business. That's what I do. The main thing I do is teach women how to open their own business. Because as long as you work for someone else, you're going to work under their rules.
Right.
And the rules are set up the way they're set up. If you start your own business, you create a new set of rules. And then the only people you're welcome to are your customers. My customers are women. Problem solved. That's my boss, is the woman behind the makeup from me.
Right.
So we understand each other.
Do you have any solutions, or I mean, I totally agree with that. I think that's the key. You know, educating ourselves and I guess not being afraid to jump out there and start a business. I think that's a lot of problems. You know, so many times we aren't given that positive reinforcement that you can do this. So you just have to by educating yourself and just going out.
You could also create a shift in the culture of the work environment. Just one business owner, that's a woman, will shift with every person that walks into her business, either as a customer or an employee. You need to speak what you're doing and let people know this is the culture of my workplace and this is what I've designed, because that's going to influence every person you touch, and they can go out there and make that change as well when they leave your company, when they start their own company, when they go to work for someone else. They can have a different vision of what it means to be an employee. Because I train and mentor teenagers and women who have never really had the kind of job that they have with me. Part of what I do is to teach them how to be self-advocates, to give them the information on how to really be able to express themselves freely, to a boss, express their needs, express their desires, ask for a raise, talk about a problem they're facing at work, be able to say, my son is sick, is it okay if I'm off, without being afraid, and to give them a backbone that they can take with them somewhere else. So I think that just creating your own company, creating your own endeavor, even if it's only part-time, you create that environment and then that can spread. Because there's nothing wrong with the male workplace. It has its place, but there needs to be a balance.
Morgan, have you ever wondered why women in visual art, graphic design, and full-figured women in music are overlooked? We kind of started talking about that already, but any other insight that you can give on that?
Probably most likely because of what society has already programmed us to think is beautiful or what is acceptable. And that most people who are not in that standard line of issue, like of these different varieties of beautiful or pretty or acceptable, are then like, okay, she does this nice, but this one's pretty. And it's just like, that's not how it should be. Everybody should be accepted for their passion and not something different.
I noticed it's basically arts centered question, but I believe you said back when we started the interview that, when you got into the financial services, there weren't a whole lot of people like you or what have you. It was more so male driven. What were, I would say, the other women, did they look a certain way that you felt that they were, how do I put this, that maybe they were chosen because they looked that way, or were advancing because maybe they looked a certain way or not?
In general, there aren't, if you look at if you think of the faces that you see on TV and kind of the landscape, it is still predominantly male, it's predominantly Caucasian. You can only think of a couple of really high power females, and, I'm looking to change the face of that. I'm really unapologetic for being young, for being biracial, for liking my curves and, not being sick. I don't think any of that diminishes my skill or what I'm out to cause with my clients and how I can do that and execute. In my office, there's not many females. So I think all of us together are really trying to change that dynamic. And my company is great. They're great to work with. I don't think that they're discriminating. I just think for whatever reason the industry kind of just leans towards males.
Yeah. Yeah, that answers it, because I have a 9-to-5 job, and I've noticed over the years, you see, there's, I guess, that glass ceiling that women just aren't really able to break. They make it through up there on the management, but for some reason it just don't stay there. And that's just because things are so male dominated. Things have been done the same way for so long. It's just trying to break that pattern of success, but things change. I have to believe that. Strong women like you, let them make that happen. Are there any legal problems that you've encountered as you ventured out, started your own business?
Legal problems.
Any that you want to talk about?
Yes, I'll tell you. For example, we're taught not to show anger and rage in public as women. We're always the peacemakers. We're afraid to upset people. We're afraid to make waves and ripples. So we go into situations like the one I was describing to you, where the comptroller is literally misapplied thousands of dollars in funds that are given in state of Maryland for years, to the point that my car is under someone else's name. So I went there the other day and I finally just got really angry. And I spoke angrily to an employee there and I realized I was completely uncomfortable with that. And I realized she was completely uncomfortable with that. But I guarantee, had I been a man, that they would have started running around in circles trying to solve the problem. If I had been a man in a suit, they would have been running around in circles trying to solve the problem. But if I go into a public facility like that and I'm angry, my wife gets this way once a month. It's really like,
What about a funny B word, you know?
I was gonna say that, but yeah. So it's like, so I have a lawyer who is my go-between. He's a man, and I specifically chose a man for a lawyer because when he opens his mouth and says something, the people listen, and he's my protector, and I've told him that, and that's just messed up.
Have you encountered any legal issues?
Nothing that can't be deleted.
Okay. And how about you, Dan?
You know, I haven't. I mean, just particularly in my industry is very heavily regulated, and that's one thing. And it's, I think, in all areas, but the women have to be one step ahead of where the men are at all the time. So our certifications, our things that need to be regulated, always have to be done way before our male counterparts because people are waiting for us to trip up.
Right.
So
I think we definitely had a great discussion today, and I think just some of the important things that I've taken away from today is that you constantly have to be educating yourself. Everything goes hand in hand, not just the book learning, but learning what resources are available to you, the types of things that you put into your body affects you. So just overall education is a big part. And also, venturing out and just not being afraid to step out on your own. If you have an idea or a dream that you want to pursue, don't let anybody hold you back, but do it. One last thing, what is the best way for viewers if they needed to contact you for your services? Where would they, do you have a website or anything like that, or an email address that they could contact you directly?
I do. Well, they can contact me on LinkedIn. My email address is rlane02. Well, it's a really long one. It's like it's rlane02.ft.newyorklife.com. But I mean, I can give my phone number. It's 443-812-6875. That's my direct cell, and I would be happy to, empower anybody that is really committed to their finances.
If someone wants to contact me through Monave, it's monave.com. Monave is spelled Monave. And then for my music shows, it's my name, Takora. So that's my brand name for music.
And how about you, Morgan?
They will have to contact me over Twitter, which is just at creative mode, no underscores or nonsense.
Well, again, ladies, thank you so much for your time today. And that's it for the inaugural episode of Beeswax. Take care until the next time.